I am 85 years old, and most days I just sit here wondering how the world can keep spinning when so much of mine has already stopped. People tell you that when you reach this age, you'll find a kind of peace, a quiet acceptance of the way things went. But that's not entirely true. I've realized that some wounds don't heal. They just become a part of your geography, like a mountain you have to walk around every single morning. I lost my son, David, over 50 years ago. He was only 30. You don't expect to outlive the person you taught to tie their shoes, and you certainly don't expect to carry the weight of their absence for longer than you actually held them in your life. I'm telling this because I'm running out of people to talk to, and because I see so many mothers moving through their lives with the same hurried, careless confidence I used to have. You think time is a vast, renewable resource. You think you're being a good mother by being productive when you're actually just being absent. Back in my 30s, I was a head nurse at a busy city hospital. I was a woman who got things done. I took immense pride in my efficiency, my crisp uniform, and the fact that I ran my household with the same clinical precision I used on the ward. I thought that was the job of a mother, to keep the gears turning, to ensure the shirts were bleached, the meals were balanced, and the futures were secured. We had the house with the wraparound porch and the good school district, all fueled by my double shifts and my relentless drive. I thought if I laid the foundation of their material lives, the rest would just take care of itself. David was a quiet boy, a bit of a dreamer. He liked to work with his hands. He'd spend hours in the garage carving small things, birds, whistles, little boxes. I remember coming home, my feet aching, seeing him covered in sawdust. Instead of asking what he was making, I'd usually sigh about the mess he was tracking into my clean kitchen. I'd tell him to wash up for dinner and stop wasting time on trinkets. I told myself I'd look at his work when things weren't so busy. But things were always busy. There were always extra shifts, committee meetings, or social obligations that felt like life or death at the time. There was always a reason to delay the small, quiet moments. I missed his championship baseball game because I had promised to cover for another nurse. I missed his high school graduation party because I was coordinating a hospital fundraiser. I thought I was being a martyr for my family. The cost of those choices didn't show up like a sudden trauma. It was more like erosion. Every time I chose the hospital over the garage, a little more of our connection washed away. David stopped asking me to look at his carvings. By the time he was in his late 20s, we were polite strangers. We'd talk about his job or the weather, but never about who he was, because I had never taken the time to learn the language of his inner life. I assumed there would be more time for that later, after he settled down, after I retired. Then he was 30. He was driving home late from a job site on a rainy Tuesday night. A patch of black ice, a sharp turn, and just like that, the more time I had been banking on vanished into a police officer's knock at my front door. It's a strange thing, losing a child at 30. He was a man, yet in my mind he was still the boy in the garage. The grief didn't just take his future, it froze our past in a state of incompletion. At the funeral, I stood there listening to strangers describe his kindness and his talent. I felt like a thief at my own son's wake, like I had stolen years of motherhood from myself by choosing a career that didn't love me back. I realized that while I was busy building a perfect home, I had forgotten to live inside it with him. That's the thing about death. It brings a clarity that is utterly devastating. You realize that your important work was just noise. Nobody at my funeral's going to talk about how clean my floors were or how many shifts I covered at the hospital. But they might have talked about the mother who sat on a stool in a dusty garage and just watched her son carve a bird. If only that mother had existed. I've lived 55 years since that accident. 55 years of looking at a small wooden whistle he made when he was 12. It's sitting on my mantle. I pick it up and I can almost smell the sawdust. I can almost see the way he looked at me, waiting for me to just sit down and stay a while. I don't want your pity. I'm an old woman who made her choices. But I want you to know that you are currently making the same choices. Every time you stay an extra hour at work to prove your value, you are choosing. Every time you tell your child not now because you're busy with chores that won't matter in a week, you are choosing. You think you're just delaying a moment, but moments are all we have. You can't save them up. They expire at midnight every single day. I wish I had been less productive and more present. I wish I had realized that the heart of a home isn't held together by how well it's run, but by the attention you pay to the souls inside it. The silence in this house has been my companion for a long time. If you have a child who still wants your time, please go to them. Don't wait for the house to be clean. Just go and sit with them. Listen to them. Because one day you'll be 85, and that memory will be the only thing that matters. Take care of each other.